You are an energetic being first and foremost, so the quality of your energy field is really important. It works like a filter, each part of the field enabling or preventing whatever is turning up in your life. This is the Future Self Energetics Show. I'm your host, Amanda Nelson, and I work in the body, mind and spirits community. I'm an award-winning master energist. That's a therapist that specialises in improving the quality of the energy fields that move in, through and around your body. If you want anything in your life to change, you have to begin with changing your energy field first. So my shows are a mixture of talk and therapy ideas, interviews and thought-provoking inspiration. They're all about energy fields, protection and connection. If there's a topic you'd love me to cover in my show, please email me, amanda@futureselfenergetics.com. And if you love the show here on UK Health Radio, please spread the word about it in your networks. This is the Future Self Energetics Show on UK Health Radio. I'm your host, Amanda Nelson, and on the show today, I'm sharing some really joyful news. A pagan spring festival is upon us, March the 21st. It's the festival of Ostara. Sitting in between Imbolc and Beltane, Ostara celebrates the time when light and darkness are again in balance. And thankfully, winter seems to be falling away by the day, falling away behind us, and light is again on the rise. And as we reach the spring equinox of March 21st, we can peep outside and look in the ground to see that spring is arriving, and whether there's frost and snow or bright, fresher, chillier sunny days, the first flush of new leaves and even the occasional early flower blooms are already beginning to appear. The spring equinox, back in the day, well, our ancestors would have breathed a massive sigh of relief. Mother Nature had not deserted us. She was waking up after a replenishing sleep. If connecting to the spring equinox, the festival of Ostara, is something that interests you and you would like to find out more about it, then you're very welcome. I'm glad you're here with me on the show today. If you're trying to find me at home and there's no sign of me, if I'm not, for example, busying myself in the kitchen because I'm always up to something, then the odds are family knows I'll have sneaked and opportunistically into my small back garden to root around in amongst the raised beds. My garden's the size, I would say, of a generous postage stamp, and yet there's always something growing in my garden. It's hard to grow much outside at this time of the year in England, but fresh kale, spring greens, some of the hardier fresh herbs, they're all there. And if there's a wicked wind blowing or a chance that it might snow, then I might head to my greenhouse, pottering about and fussing over newly started seeds in there. It's still early to be sowing seeds in mid-March. Our latest frost date isn't until around May, but I can't help getting something started, even if, like me, they are very frost tender. I've always preferred growing fruit and vegetables rather than flowers in my garden. I do grow flowers, but it's mostly fruit and veg. And one of the earliest memories I have actually was being given a small pack of seeds when I was at nursery school. I was a real scrap of a thing back then, but I remember being given the pack of seeds, shown how to plant them, and that was it. I was completely hooked. And when I finally got my hands on my own garden, it sealed the deal. During lockdown too, my garden was a saving grace for me. I grow flowers for the bees and the butterflies and the hoverflies and the ladybirds and the lacewings. And I also grow flowers in order to cut and share as gifts, either for friends or as a gift for my house. And I grow a plentiful supply of all kinds of fruit and veg. I'm always trying something new as well, because I love the homegrown taste. I love the health benefits. I love the connection to my ancestors as well. I like to grow the old heirloom varieties, see what it is that my great-great-grandmother would have tasted. And odds are that if you visit, I won't, be filling you with daffodils from the garden, filling your arms with those. If you come round to my house, or indeed if I go round to yours, it's not going to be daffodils and roses, I'm afraid. It'll be a bag of freshly picked courgettes, hope you want them, or some bunches of parsley and basil and a punnet of strawberries. Now, just so you know, you probably hear the Great Western Railway Society in steam today. That's another sign that it's spring. In the spring, across the top of the town where I live, you can hear the peep peep of the steam engines. They've got a steam day going on at the moment, and people flock to that Great Western Society so that they can go and see the old steam trains. How lovely that we're talking about our connection to all things traditional today. There's nothing more traditional than the sight and sound of a beautiful steam engine in full steam. And can there be anything more wonderful too than nipping out into the greenhouse and picking handfuls of fresh chives to chop and pick some ripe and sweet tomatoes if there are any? I have to say, within minutes of picking anything, it comes in from the garden, you get it cleaned, chopped up and added to a salad or a soup or a meal. And it's so fresh when you eat it, you can still taste the sunlight. That's what I say. You can taste the sunlight. You can feel the warmth of spring on the vegetables and the heat of the sun on the vegetables and fruit in the summer. It's like the sun comes along and kisses them. And as I eat the fruit and vegetables, I feel like I'm being kissed by the sun as well. Is it only me? But I mustn't get too ahead of myself. It is, after all, still March. But I know what will be coming, and quite frankly, I can't wait. Growing any of my own food, well, it gives me so many benefits, not least the knowing that I can be more self-sufficient. And with my seed library, yes, I have a seed library. It's a treasure chest, really. That seed library is a safer, healthier, more sustainable, more plant-friendly future, or at least that's what I see. Now, a garden full of cucumbers is still a long way off. We're not quite there yet by any means. But you know what? I enjoy all the planning of how to use the small spaces that I have in my back garden to grow. And I grow the most I can possibly grow in order to feed my family and have enough to share with friends. And when there is an abundance of extra, I do leave a box of fresh vegetables for passers-by to dip into when they're passing. So the festival of Ostara, March the 21st, means that the season is tantalisingly close to beginning. I suppose the thing that grows most in my garden is me. And so when the winter months are here, I don't really feel as if I can grow that much. I'm out in the garden, and as I tend the flowers, it sets my mind into a beautiful meditative state, and it gives me a calmness. I process a lot in the garden, and as my hands are in the soil, I'm helping the flowers and the vegetables to grow. The winter months, where there is so little growing, is a struggle for me, actually. I was talking to my husband about it this year, and I was saying that I need to find something to do between October and the middle of April, because mentally all of the healing that I receive from growing things in the garden, well, I just don't get the support. Winter does feel like a long haul at times, but I know though that the plants in my garden and the life in the soil that feeds and nourishes those plants, well, it all needs time to rest, and it needs to rest up properly and gather more energy ready for the growing season to come. So I have to be patient. I've actually taken up crocheting. That seems to be helping too. So despite this though, I'm still sneaking out into the garden. I sneak out from about the middle of January to find something to add to my meals, even if it's just a sprig of fresh rosemary or a bay leaf or two, or maybe a bunch of fresh curly kale leaves. Anything's better than nothing. And I know it's too early and nothing's happening much, but I am walking the pathways as I count down the days until I can see the first signs of plants yawning awake. The first early plants to come, I suppose, the fruits that I'm watching for, are the little buds. As soon as the little buds on a lot of the fruit bushes or trees that I have, as soon as they start to wake up and open up a little bit, then that feels like a much-loved friend is coming back from a very long trip away, and I start to get excited. I know this is a bit sentimental, but, welcome home, little buds. Those buds are going to plump up and finally they'll burst open. And when they do, there'll be a gorgeous unfurling of the brightest of green. And after so much garden grey and brown, that will be so welcome. Sunshine is in fairly short supply, I admit it, here where I am in Oxfordshire at this time of year. But it is still March, and I'm now walking around the garden most days just looking for those buds. And just before recording this, actually, I did see the first leaves coming through on my blueberries. There were some also on the plum trees, just the first tips of them showing through, and the honeyberries, and also the goji berries, and my beloved raspberries. And I noticed fresh growth in the strawberries as well. The cherry tree is still sleepy, so are the apple and the pear, but I have to give it time. I say to myself, give it time, Amanda. Give it time, it will come. Now, you probably gather that from the way I'm talking about it, Mother Nature really lifts my spirits up. Energetically, we're in alignment, and when I'm in nature, it fills me up to the brim. And the chakras in the soles of my feet open up, and I discharge all of the stagnant energy out from those chakras into the ground below, and Mother Nature and planet Earth swaps a delightful exchange. She has all of my stagnated energy, and I take up effervescent, bright, new, grounding and replenishing vibrations. As human beings, it's how we're designed. It's why those chakras work in the way that they do. And Mother Nature does a great job in helping me with my mental health, as I've already said, and she keeps me fit and moving and in a constant state of excitement. What is the gift that's going to be coming from my garden today? And if there's anything that creates stress or worry for me, or indeed for you, then I have to say that if you're a gardener, you already know that there's something about connecting with nature that makes the world just seem a better place almost immediately. If you're not gardening yet, then can I recommend you give it a go, even if it's just to begin really small scale. Maybe get a terracotta pot, a decent sized one, nothing too small. I don't know, fill it up with good quality soil, and then I would buy a set of meadow seed flowers. Why not start with that? It doesn't have to be something you eat. Sprinkle those meadow flowers, water it a bit, and once it gets that little bit warmer, find a space for it outside near a garden seat, perhaps where you can watch what happens next. And you'll not only have gorgeous meadow flowers that grow in that pot, you'll also attract butterflies and ladybirds and bees to it. Yeah, for sure, they'll all come. And you can sip on a warm drink and watch them feast on the flowers that you have provided. What a buffet for them, and what a glorious experience for you. 15 minutes connecting with the garden, the butterflies, the ladybirds and the bees, who have nothing more to care about than to gather in what they need to eat and to find something to drink. It's a really peaceful kind of connection when you connect with nature. And you might like trying growing things to eat. I'm a great believer in it. You never know when something you want to eat might not be available fresh. And so I like to grow things to eat. You know that already. Grow bags. Go and get yourself a grow bag. It costs just a few pounds and it doesn't take up very space. And they're ready. They're ready-made growing containers. And you can get a tomato plant and a chili pepper and dot it with herbs like parsley and basil and chives. They all do well in the same bed together. If you're adventurous, you might get another grow bag and try growing a cucumber in it. And have all sorts of things growing around the base of the cucumber. Herbs, they're easy to grow, but you can also pack lots of things like salad leaves into a grow bag as well. Maybe a few radishes. And before you know it, these 2 little bags are providing you with a couple of really decent meals every week and lots of additions for flavour that you can add to the plate. You might be interested to know that I also found that as well as these things being natural treats, it's great fun to grow veg with your kids or your grandchildren. Even picky eaters, in my experience, seem happy to eat something that they have grown or that they found in the garden. So, fresh raspberries in the garden, strawberries that you can pick, all of those sorts of things. If you've got a picky eater, get yourself a little basket and go on a treasure hunt, as long as you haven't covered those vegetables with anything that I would consider to be nasty, like certain kinds of strong or unnatural insecticides and such. You should be all right. You can always take a little bowl of water with you as well, just to wash things off if they really can't wait until it gets back to the kitchen. So it's March, and I am a woman in waiting. And although Mother Nature doesn't follow any particular calendar, Mother Nature does perform her magic at whatever time and date that suits her best. She is waking up. I can see signs of it and I feel joyful and I want to celebrate. So celebrating this awakening and the promise of what's ahead is nothing new. It's not only me, but unfortunately people are so disconnected from nature and from the joy of food growing that they no longer celebrate this time at all. I'd say most people are oblivious to the importance of the spring equinox. Pagans and Wiccans, they haven't forgotten. They've been celebrating the rebirth of spring since records began. I'm not a pagan, nor am I a Wiccan, but I do actually follow the Wheel of the Year. And the Wheel of the Year is a series of pagan holidays and festivals, and they follow a nature-based calendar. And this calendar includes 4 sun festivals and 4 seasonal festivals. It's quite a tongue twister, you should try it. And around March the 21st comes the festival of Ostara, and this is a thankful celebration, thanking the goddess Ostara for the renewal of the bounty that nature is going to deliver to us. The Wheel of the Year offers us a focal point, a meaning and a purpose for how we mark the passage of time throughout the natural year. And also those celebrations give us the opportunity to give thanks. And we do this every 8 or so weeks because that's the cycle that all of these celebrations are on. It seems like a massive excuse for regular parties. Why not? So it gives us the chance every 8 weeks to also join in the celebrations and to be noticing what's happening in the natural annual calendar outside our front doors and how it's unfolding into a cycle of the passing seasons each year. So let's get back to this connectedness. And in case you're new, let me inspire you with some ways to celebrate this amazing festival.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good. UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.
I'm your host, Amanda Nelson, and on the show today, I'm sharing some really joyful news, joyful for me certainly, We're only a squeak away from the spring equinox. Stay with me, even though there's lots of tooting going on from the local railway centre where the steam engines are in full steam today. I've got some ideas of how you and your loved ones can really celebrate this equinox festival on the 21st of March. So, the Wheel of the Year. It's an annual cycle of seasonal festivals, and it's observed by many modern pagans and Wiccans, and the Wheel of the Year keeps turning, roughly on an 8-week cycle. And although you don't have to be pagan or Wiccan to celebrate these festivals, I'm not, it's lovely to mark the passage of time by honouring each festival that marks the turning of the wheel. So I create my own connection to the cycles of nature by following the Wheel of the Year. And I suppose those people also who've celebrated this same wheel and they've walked their path of life well before me. This is a wheel that's going back hundreds, if not thousands of years. There's quite a connection there. So what does this wheel look like, first of all? Well, what I want you to do is imagine a circle, and the circle is divided into 8 equal segments. And this circle and the 8 segments each kind of represent the 8 different festivals. Each festival date's roughly 8 weeks apart, as I've already said, and the wheel cycles on a never-ending repeat. Let's fly through these festivals throughout the year very quickly. We'll start with the solstices because they're the easiest of the festivals and probably the one that you might have heard of the most. These are sun celebrations. So you've heard of the summer solstice, June 21st. That's when everyone goes to Stonehenge down on Salisbury Plain and sees the sun come up, June the 21st. And there's also the winter solstice. That's December the 21st. That's the solstice, I would say, when the sun is at its lowest point in the sky. So the solstices, really, these mark when the sun's at its highest point or its lowest point and in the sky at noon. It marks the longest and the shortest day of daylight of the year because of this, and these sit opposite each other on the Wheel of the Year. On the wheel they occupy position north and they occupy position south. Then there are 2 more festivals. These are the equinoxes. An equinox relates to the word equal. Twice a year the daylight and the night time are equal length in time. There's no more light or darkness. They are absolutely the same or thereabouts. And that's usually around the 22nd of September and also the 21st of March. So it's around about now. And that's spring. Spring is the vernal equinox, and then in the autumn equinox, the autumnal equinox, that's later in the year in the fall. So on your Wheel of the Year, these equinoxes occupy east and west. Then there are the 4 remaining Celtic festivals which take their place on the wheel between the equinoxes and the solstices. These are Imbolc, Beltane, Lughnasadh and Samhain. These are seasonal festivals that occupy northeast, southeast, southwest and northwest respectively. Imbolc's in February. That celebrates the return of the light and the first, very, very first signs of the growing season that's starting. It's a great time to sow any kind of new seed. So not just seeds that you would put in the ground, perhaps it's about sowing the seeds of a new beginning in your life. And then the next festival would be Beltane. That's a fire festival. That's such a joyful festival, actually. That's in April. And that festival marks the true return of the sun. Then Lughnasadh is in early August. That's relating to the harvest and harvest home and feasting and celebrating and filling our larders and food stores for the winter ahead. And then finally Samhain at the end of October. You might know that as All Hallows or Halloween. The summer is over, the autumn harvests are in, and the winter months lie ahead. Mother Nature retreats into the ground again. And this wheel, it constantly turns, and it's been turning on our planet since she sprang into life eons of years ago. So we're fast approaching the spring equinox. Light and dark, nighttime and daytime are all in equal supply. And when we tip into the time of the year when daylight increases and increases, we're tipping into the much longer and longer daylight days. I love it. These are growing days. Ostara is the spring maiden. She's an Anglo-Saxon goddess, and she oversees the budding plants and awakening fertility of the earth that I'm observing. She's doing a great job, she always does. So this Equinox Festival is all about her. It's about fertility and the bounty of every new form of life that she brings. Symbols for Ostara that you'll recognise would include eggs and bunnies and flowers and seeds. I'm a great gardener, as I've already mentioned. Did I mention that? And I love to grow things, so I'm going to be celebrating Ostara with a much needed cathartic planting session. And if I'm lucky, I might be able to sneak a trip to the local garden centre and buy any seeds that I don't yet have, though my gorgeous husband Matt might look at my seed collection already and then at me and be a little confused as to why I might need any more. Can you ever have too many seeds? Now, you might not be as potty about gardening as I am, so with Ostara so close, what could you do? How about finding ways to connect with the goddess herself? Goddess energy is very powerful, and it's kind of relaxed too. If you know where you are with a goddess, grass doesn't force itself to grow. It knows how to grow. It's empowered and it has direction and creative spirit and that kind of birthing. Goddesses are the same. Ostara is very much like that. Celebrate with the goddess of promised fresh starts. Be grateful for the bounty she will generously bestow and ask for blessings. Don't hold back from asking. Ostara loves to provide. Now, Ostara loves her flowers. So can you bring flowers into your home to celebrate with her? I have snowdrops in my garden at the moment, but they're far too pretty. I wouldn't bring them inside. Instead, I go to the very abundant armfuls of daffodils that are available. Happy yellow-faced blooms. They look like little trumpets that are announcing the goddess has arrived. Honour the goddess. Bring fresh flowers into your home. Freshly cut flowers have a special energetic vibration, and that will emanate into the room and the spaces that you place them in. And when they're carefully arranged by you, placed in a clear-cut glass vase filled with fresh water, what could be better for your space? You know, Ostara also loves greenery, so bring in holly or ivy or branches with catkins hanging down from them. I bring in flowers from my garden, or I bring them in if they're good quality ones bought from a garden centre or from a florist shop or from a supermarket. I really don't mind, but I cut and I arrange them in a vase, and as I arrange them I give thanks to the goddess Ostara. I use my right hand, because I'm right-handed, also right hand palm down, to cast a circle of blessing light energy around the flower heads in the vase as I've arranged them. And as I do this, I recognise Goddess Ostara, and I cast this as a gratitude for the flowers and everything else. That's my first energetic casting of the year. Thank you, I say. Thank you, Ostara, for coming. Thank you for your continued bounty. Thank you for the fresh, bountiful potential of the year ahead of me. Thank you for the abundance that continues to flow on the planet and into the lives of everyone that rely upon you so much, whether it's the people or the animals or the spaces or the places. Each one of us really benefits from nature's bounty in some way, and we rely upon Ostara to show up, wake up nature and reassure us with the promise of a fresh spring day. I look at nature and I really connect with it deeply. I feel such humility and gratitude at how wondrous it all is. And as I cast a circle of blessing light energy around the flowers which I've put in my vase, I really present this to the goddess to thank her, and I ask her for her continuing bountiful support for my family and for the family of all life on planet Earth. Now, in my experiences, goddesses have personalities, and Ostara is no different. Ostara is quite playful, actually, and she loves a bit of fun. She's very buoyant, and she's carefree. So imagine a goddess that dances freely on the land, and as she dances, all life around her springs into being, awakening after a long, deep slumber. It's her laughter and her dancing that wakes nature up, beckoning it to come and join in with her play. How would you feel about dancing like this outside? Dancing with a goddess as a way to celebrate her. How would you feel about going outdoors? I think for me it's still a bit chilly and muddy underfoot, especially where I am in Oxfordshire. But do you know what? I'd take off my shoes and socks and dance a reel or two in the mud just to celebrate this goddess, because I know how much her bounty means to me and all those I care about. I suppose Ostara probably wouldn't mind if I kept my wellies on and danced anyway. She'd probably find that quite funny. Ostara loves sun. She loves the dance. She loves candlelight. She loves playful light. Ask Ostara to bring bounty into your life and bring any of those things into your life as you do it. She will bring bounty into your life in any way you need it to come. One other way I celebrate with Ostara, and this is a bit cheeky really, is I bless a delicious chocolate just before I eat it. I go and I invest in some melt-in-the-mouth chocolates. I like chocolate truffles. And as a part of the blessing, what I do is I focus on a desire that I want to burst forward into being. And then I sit down, and I'd suggest you do this too. It's always a good excuse to be able to eat a chocolate truffle. Sit down, bring yourself into a complete state of stillness. And while focusing on whatever it is that you really desire for to burst into life, just pop that little chocolate into your mouth. Don't chew, okay? Just leave the chocolate there sitting on your tongue. And the inside of your mouth is like the egg that holds a beautiful intention inside of it. An intention that you would like Ostara to bring to life. And I hold the chocolate inside my mouth and I let it sit on my tongue for a little while and I allow it to simply melt. And I consciously direct the energy of these feelings of deliciousness into the desire I have for my future. And I let my desire and my treat mingle, becoming one together. And then finally, as I swallow it and I have set that gorgeous intention, I say thank you to Ostara for this gorgeous, beautiful life. Ostara will love it and she will help to make that desire come true and flourish. Get creative. Ostara likes to have fun and be playful. Be inspired by Ostara and the promise of what comes next. We're planting the seed of something delicious inside of us, a delicious desire that we want to flourish and come into our own being. Make a personal connection. Certainly make a connection with nature. Reawaken your relationship with the roots of the planet that cares for us all.
UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good. UK Health Radio, the station that makes you feel good.
That's it for another show this week. I'm thrilled that you dropped by. I present Future Self Energetics show every week for UK Health Radio, and I'd be delighted to spend more time with you next week, so do tune in. The world of energy is amazing and it's magical and it's mysterious, and there's always so much for us to explore about it. You have a vital connection to a web of energy fields around you. Use that connection for your benefit. I've been working with vibrational energetics all my life, and I know that when you improve your energy field, you can up-level any part of your life. You can find out more about me, my courses and Future Self Energetics at my lifestyle website, beyondthegoldenegg.com. I'm also on Twitter. You can find me at Ask Amanda Nelson. Focus on the quality of the energy in your energy field. Focus on your entire energy field every single day, because a great energy field has the potential to change anything. I'm looking forward to connecting with you again next week. Love to you and yours. Bye-bye.